Hi, I'm Chris with C&H Auto Accessories in Margate, Florida, and today we're going to talk about a cold air intake made by AFE. Now come over here. As you can see, this is Dave here, and he's going to tell you a little about this AFE powered cold air intake we just installed on this new Cadillac Escalade. Dave, tell me some of the benefits of the AFE over maybe some other brands.
If you're buying a cold air intake, first thing is buy a name brand. You're going to get better fit, better finish. If you come in here, I can show you exactly what I mean by better fit and finish on the cold air intake. But I like AFE. They offer both options for you. They'll offer you an oiled filter or a dry filter.
What's the difference between those two filters?
So the oil filter is going to get washed, and then you also have to coat it with a light coat of oil. And that helps collect the dirt particles. The reason I don't like that as much is as the engine's running, you can suck a fine mist of oil through the mass airflow sensor and into stuff. It could cause a problem. K&N's been using it for years. It doesn't mean K&N's a bad system. I prefer a dry filter. One, if you drive in a dusty, sandy environment and you get some dust and sand on this and you want to clean it out, you can pop this off, air compressor, and you're on your way. You're not washing it in a bucket and all that. Now, they do have a system to do that. If you get your filter really dirty, you can wash it, let it air dry in the sun, you'll be good to go. But you're not doing that extra step. So I always will recommend a dry fit filter or dry style filter over an oiled filter, unless you're like going out to California where there's a ton of sand and you really want to make sure you're getting the best, possible little micron of dust.
One thing I noticed about the AFE, it's got a terrific look. Come over here a little closer, and I know Dave and I were discussing how nice it looks with this Cadillac engine here. I just like the extra touches they do to this. It just gives it a nice look. If you're at a car show and you want to pop your hood, and it really does give it a very nice look. I mean, so you're functional. It looks good. What kind of extra power are we talking about, Dave, getting out here?
On average, you're looking about 10 to 15 horsepower. Obviously, that varies with tuning. That's going to vary if you add an exhaust to that. All that stuff. This is just basically the start of building up a better performance vehicle or performance engine. I think the next step, this guy did talk about doing exhaust, so he's already got the look. AFE does offer exhaust, so we could set him up with an AFE exhaust, and everything matches. My biggest thing is you'll see this online and it will be unbranded. It'll be sitting on Amazon and you're going to see a lower price point. Guess what? No instructions. Horrible fit and finish. It's not going to look like this. It's going to take twice as long to put in. So save your money for that extra month. Buy a good quality brand. I prefer AFE over a lot of them on the market. There's some other ones depending on your vehicle, I would say. Choose this brand, but I'm a big AFE person.
Now, another question a lot of our customers ask is, does this help with gas mileage? What kind of benefit would you get from gas mileage?
It is going to help with gas mileage. Your engine is a giant air pump, so the more efficiently you can get air in and out of the vehicle, the better it's going to operate. The more efficiently it's going to operate. So on average, this guy down the highway might see about 2 miles to the gallon. It all depends on driving conditions and if it's raining and on all that stuff. But on average, he should see a bump in fuel economy, especially on the highway, because now his engine's not sucking through all this tubing that GM put in there from the factory. And they all do it for GM. I'm not just picking on GM. But they all put all this extra tubing, and it is for a reason. But it's so you can drive the car anywhere. This will let you drive the car anywhere. This is also CARB compliant. It comes with the sticker. It makes it CARB compliant, so it's good in all 50 states. So if you move to a state that has strict emission laws, this passes. That cheap one you bought off Amazon might not be CARB compliant, not going to pass. Now you got to go, now you failed, and you're going to have to pay for everything else to get it back.
Still, again, with the other cheap models, you have fit and finish, but most important, when you get the better brands, the filter makes a big difference. That is a good quality filter because the filter is what's letting the air in, correct?
This is an AFE proprietary filter. This is their filter. If you buy the kit that's unbranded, you don't know. It could be, you could get lucky and basically win the lottery and they send you an AFE or a K&N because they sell these filters just as a cone setup. Or you could get the cheap Chinese filter and you think you got this performance filter, it's going to work great, and it collapses, and it's so there's some issues. You're taking a bigger risk. Like I said, wait that month or two, come and see us. Let us figure out a good intake for you. We'll give you some different price points. They're all over the board. So
now, a couple of the benefits, obviously, better gas mileage, better performance. Now, another savings, and correct me if I'm wrong, is longevity. Now, you have a regular factory filter. How often do you have to change that?
So, depending on manufacturer, some of them are down at 30,000 miles. Some of them can be 50,000. It all depends. But if you go to the dealership, for them to do that, you're going to pay a labor charge, and you're going to pay for the cost of the filter at dealer markup. This filter from AFE is basically going to last the life of the vehicle with proper maintenance. If you're taking it out, giving it a good blowout, a wash every once in a while. And by a wash, I mean, if you really want, say this guy hits 100,000 miles, we can pop this out, he hoses it off, lets it sit in the sun for a couple hours, puts it back in, he's good to go. Now you have to let the filter dry. Don't put a wet filter back in there, that's bad. But let the filter dry, and it's going to last him basically the life of the vehicle.
So basically they're saving money on the filter because they don't have to change it as often. They're saving money on the gasoline. Of course, with the better performance, you're getting more horsepower, and I'm assuming the torque has changed too, right?
It'll bump up the torque. Like I said, that's all variable depending on any other modifications you have or you want to do, and any sort of tuning options that you're looking at, because that's when you really start maximizing it. The nice thing with a good brand like this is, put this in, start the truck, no check engine lights. Mm-hmm. You're not going to see a check engine light by doing that.
Before too. So.
And that can happen because at least AFE puts in the R&D and the research to say how much air needs to move into this motor, all that stuff, and that way it prevents it. Because if your mass airflow sensor says, whoa, where's all this air coming from? I don't know. Check engine light. Now you're at the dealership, and the dealership's going to look at this and say, well, you put that in there.
So basically what this is doing is just letting more air into the engine, which works better, right?
More air, smoother airflow, because when you see the tube, it's nice, it's smooth bends, and inside the tube, it's all nice and smooth. There's there's no giant holes or gaps, and it's just a nice smooth flow to get it in there. It might be, you're talking a little bit more CFM, but it's the smoothness to get it into that engine where AFE really shines in how they design things.
Well, I tell you, a lot of benefits for the customers. I mean, better performance, better gas mileage, longevity on the filter, so it does save you some money over time. I mean, assuming with a little gas mileage, you start adding that up with the filter, I mean, it kind of pays for itself very quickly. Anything else you would want to tell the people out there about the AFE power?
It's just always a good option to look into these. Come talk to us. If you tow, there's probably going to be a better advantage to it if you tow. If it's not just a race part. Don't think of it as just a performance part. If you're towing, if you're doing those long road trips, it's stuff like that that will give you a benefit down the road that you're not even thinking about when you buy it, because it does make it sound a little bit better because there's less restriction. So you'll hear it when you hit the throttle, but
it's a little deeper sound. It has a nice sound to it.
You're hearing that air getting sucked into that intake, and it just sounds cooler. You put it with a good exhaust, and it's really going to make your truck stand out, be a little bit different than.
So you recommend when you get the AFE power cold air intake a nice exhaust system as well?
I do. Once again, we go back to the air pump, and we're getting air in the best we can. Now let's get the air out, and I believe this customer did say that's one of his next steps is an exhaust system, and that's really going to help him, and we do that here too. So
yeah, we can take care of all that for you. Again, it looks great. Most importantly, it works great. Again, if you like what you see today, please subscribe to our channel, and always hit that like button, because we do appreciate that like button. It lets us know you appreciate what we're doing here. Again, this is Dave, I'm Chris, and we're with C&H Auto Accessories in Margate, Florida. Thank you.